What's up, YouTube? And today I am going to be doing a little bit of a different video. Today I'm going to be doing a video on this car that I've done so many videos on now, and I always get good feedback whenever I do a video on this car, and so many people I think just want to learn more about it and really see what they can get into this vehicle for, because it is pretty unique, and for the amount of power and speed that you get with this car, it makes so much more sense that people want to get it, because the price that you can get it for is a bargain, and I'm going to tell you why. So I am here at a Chrysler dealership in Canada. Now, I'm well aware of US pricing as well. I usually try and explain both Canadian and US pricing. I'm going to be doing the same thing today, and the video is how much can you negotiate off a HELLCAT. Now, I do have HELLCATs here that have been sitting for quite some time. So typically your best way to get your best deal is, I'm sure most of you know this, is if the car is on the lot. Now, let's say you wanted to factory order one and get it the exact way you wanted. What would happen is typically you would be looking at a vehicle that you would build with your salesperson, and they would submit it to FCA, and they would end up giving you a VIN number eventually, and they would start building it, etc., etc. So it's pretty neat. And how it works, sorry, 1 second, the camera's a little bit awkward to hold today. And what would happen is pretty much you would get the car, it would come in off a truck, and you'd buy it. Now, most of the time, dealerships don't like negotiating on a factory order. Reason being is they don't get the deal until that car comes in, and usually that car comes in 2 to 3 months. So for obvious reasons, you can imagine why they don't like negotiating on it. But I'm here to tell you that you can actually negotiate quite a bit off of a factory order, regardless of what someone tells you. And as much as I would like to say it's probably the same as one on the lot, it's still not. You're probably better off getting a better deal of one on the lot, which I'll explain kind of the difference in pricing. But if you are looking to factory order one, let's say you get a HELLCAT Challenger that's bone stock, base and everything, with a manual transmission, which that's an interesting fact too that I found out. You guys in the US don't have to pay for a manual transmission. Here in Canada, we do. You pay $1,000 extra, which makes no sense, because the automatic for you guys, you pay $3,000 extra, and here it's free. I don't know. That's weird. Anyways, so as I was saying, yeah, manual transmission, pretty much a base HELLCAT you're looking at Challenger, is about $67,000 in US. Now, if you're in Canada and you're looking at a base Challenger, it's an automatic, and it's about $81,000, I think, something like that. And if you're in Canada, you could probably negotiate a factory order for about $72,000, so about 10 grand off. In the US, it's about the same. I'm going to say it's about 10 grand off. You're looking at about 57 on a factory order, maybe 55. In the Canada, you can maybe get it down to 70, depending on a few things. Now, when I say negotiate, really what you can negotiate out of the dealership is about $7,000. The $3,000, this is a little bit tricky, but if you can figure it out, it works. And it's something that a lot of people who buy these cars don't know about, but there's an employee choice control number, we call it. And how it works is if you work for a certain company that FCA kind of, I don't even know how, is partnered with or shares these discounts with, pretty much you get a 2% additional off cost as well. So that 2% can vary depending on how much the price of the vehicle is, and you get that 2% additionally off as well. So you can usually, with that 2%, get off an additional $1,000, right? Maybe $1,500 on a HELLCAT, something like that. But what happens is now, let's say you have a family member or a friend who works for Chrysler or at a plant, minus a car salesperson or someone who works at a dealership, minusing those people, If you know someone who works at the at the power plant, you will be able to find a control number that's actually worth 5%. Now that 5% coupon is really valuable, and the reason being is because you get 5% off additionally, and on something that's $67,000, or in Canada $80,000, right? You're gonna get quite a bit off the vehicle. You'll get $4,000 to $3,000 off. Like I said, depending on if it's in USD or CAD, and that saves you quite a bit. So that's where you can get another additional money. Now, there are sometimes incentives on cars. Now, incentives are pretty much discounts, right? So depending on Chrysler, if they're releasing a discount, they'll give you a further discount. Now, usually on the Challengers and the Chargers, there's never any discounts, at least here in Canada. And usually in the US from FCA, actually, there's never any discounts. We usually, as the dealership, have to give the discounts. And I think that's how it is pretty much in the US as well. Now, the benefit to you guys in the US is you guys get to lease HELLCATs for dirt cheap. Here in Canada, you cannot lease a HELLCAT. So leasing looks really appealing in the US, I have to admit. That's pretty cool, especially on a car that's got 707 horsepower. You can drive for 2 years, drive the crap out of it, and next thing you know, you're handing back this car that you've absolutely destroyed. Anyways, you have to understand that this is a huge benefit to you guys in the US. Unfortunately, to all the Canadians watching, yeah, we can't lease a HELLCAT, but we're not going to talk about payments right now. We're just talking about the price of the car, because that's really what matters when you're negotiating everything. And now I'm going to talk about if you find one on the lot. As you can see, I got a huge lot here. I got more on the other side over there. But right now, what I'm going to be talking to you guys about is if that car is on the lot. If that car is on the lot, chances are the HELLCAT sat there for quite some time. I know, because we have this problem at our store, and I've had a green go green Challenger HELLCAT now in stock for I think about 480 days, and I've heard there's dealerships that are even worse in the US. I've seen dealerships that still have 2016 models. So luckily we're not in that boat, but it is possible out there that you will find a dealership in the US with a 2016 model. And the reason being is because when they were mass produced in 2016, all of them just started coming in, right? And there was just so many and a huge abundance of them. Canada obviously didn't get as many as the US, and US got so many that now they're just, everyone wanted one, got one. And there's still people who want one, don't get me wrong, and that's probably why these people are watching this video. And I'm telling you right now that it was very kind of strange, and it was unfortunate for a lot of HELLCAT owners. And I'll tell you why, because HELLCAT owners thought their car was going to be worth a little bit more, it was going to be unique and different. Unfortunately, it's not. The cars have been mass produced, and there's probably a crap ton of HELLCATs out there. Can't remember the number. I'm going to say it's over 30,000 HELLCATs are now out there in the world. And it is unfortunate for those people who did buy in 2015 and who were excited to get this 707 horsepower car. Now, just about anyone can get a HELLCAT, and for actually a lot less than what those people paid for it. And it is unfortunate, but now I'm going to talk about if it's on the lot. If that car is on the lot, I would not be surprised if a brand new HELLCAT in the US went for about 50 grand. Believe it or not. And that's because it's just, once when a car is at your dealership for over 365 days, you're just like, crap, we just want to get rid of this thing at this point. Reason being is, one, you could start developing just problems because that motor and everything's been sitting. We've seen it happen. We've had things leak. We've had just they won't start. Obviously batteries die, and you go through batteries like there's no tomorrow, and you're paying interest on that car to have it here on the lot, so it makes no sense to keep it for that long. Any car that doesn't move in 3 months is kind of tough, right? And it's tough to move a car in 3 months when you have so many. So a car that's been there for 365 days, you're just dying to get rid of it. So I'm telling you right now that if you find those dealerships with 2016s or 2017s, guaranteed you're gonna get a really good deal. And on those cars, I would not accept anything in Canada under, like, sorry, I would just accept anything that's under 70 probably on those kind of cars, 72. But in Canada, it's kind of harder to find because there's not as many sitting on the lot. Now, the benefit to negotiating as well is, obviously, if you do plan on trading this car in and you're buying it, it's better for reselling it. You won't be as buried in it, or you won't lose as much on it, I should say. Especially for a lease, $1,000 on a lease payment is huge. It changes your payment quite a bit. It can change like $50, depending on the term, of course. But in a finance, it changes your payment, just not as strongly as in a lease. But I'm telling you right now, if you're in the US, I would definitely not buy a HELLCAT for more than $57,000, because you can definitely get it for 57 or lower. And in Canada, I would not get one for 72 or higher, because as well, you can get it for 72 or less. And if you guys look on Auto Trader, I believe you guys call it Auto Trader too in the US, you'll see it's just packed with these HELLCATs that are pretty cheap, and you'll see what I'm talking about. I don't think it's a huge secret, but yeah, I'm just putting out the video out there to kind of guide you on how you can go. And now when you get in a dealership and a dealership denies your offer of, let's say, 72 or 57 or whatever, US or Canadian, whatever offer you're putting on that table, and they deny you on it the first time, they're gonna deny you on the first time. 99% of the time, they're gonna deny you. It doesn't mean that they can't give you that offer. It's negotiating. I'm not gonna tell you how to negotiate. Everybody does it a little bit differently, but I'm telling you right now, if you don't like negotiating with a dealership, that's fine. You don't even have to. The easiest way to do it is you put an offer right when you get there. They might ask you how you came up with those numbers. You just go, well, listen, I've seen what they're going for out there. I've heard stories of what people are getting them for. And that's when I'm at. If they deny you again, you just say, no problem, listen, let me know if you could do it, and you leave. Chances are they probably won't even let you leave. So you're gonna end up getting that deal that day. If not, they will call you the evening or the next day. I know, like I said, I work at a dealership. I know how it is. I used to be in sales, so that's why I'm giving you kind of that pitch on what's gonna happen if you do go and negotiate. So definitely do that, guys. Please like and subscribe to the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back with more videos. Thank you.